Today we're going to learn how to tell the date using a Mayan calendar. Notice on the left is a Mayan calendar, and on the right is a blank Mayan calendar. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to fill in the blank Mayan calendar on the right so that you can tell the date in Mayan. But first I want to look at this actual Mayan calendar on the left. This is drawn by Linda Shelley right off of Mayan ruins down in Mexico, and it has a couple features I want to point out to you. This top glyph is called the initial series glyph, and that signifies that everything that comes underneath it is going to be a calendar date. So these glyphs down here are going to be a date on the Mayan calendar. And the way that you know that these numbers aren't just random numbers is because this glyph up here tells you that it's going to be a calendar date. And these calendar dates were really accurate. We can go all the way back to any date that they have a calendar date for on any of their inscriptions, and we can know exactly what date and what day of the week that happened 300 years ago, 800 years ago, 2,000 years ago. So these calendar dates are really accurate 2,000 years later. So it's pretty cool when you see one of these Mayan calendar dates on an inscription, you can know exactly what happened on that date. So there might be on this date, and then they'll have another carving that might explain to you what the significant event was on that date. So one king might have attacked another king and took him captive and took the village, etc. So they'll explain through imagery what happened on that date. So you can walk up to one of these Mayan stela carvings and you can see exactly what happened, by who, because their name glyphs are on there, and on what date, because the Mayan calendar glyph is there as well. So these glyphs are pretty cool. So this right here is going to indicate to you that everything underneath is going to be a date. And I want to point out to you, you can see what numbers these are. These are the 2 rayas and the 3 puntos, so this is going to be the number 13. But notice it's not horizontal like we learned before. They're going to be vertical. They're going to be stuck on this other kind of glyph. We have the number 4 here. We have a number 0 stuck to this guy's face. We have a number 8 stuck here. So the 5 glyphs that we're going to spend most of our time with are going to be these 5 glyphs underneath here, plus the initial series glyph. The first thing we need to do is decide on what date we're going to convert. What date are we interested in putting onto a Mayan calendar? For the sake of an example, I just chose the last date of the last century, the 31st of December, 1999. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this number and scan this QR code up here, which is going to pop up a website just to make it easier for us. It's going to convert that date for us into a 5-digit Mayan calendar date. When you look at how we tell the dates, ours are 3 numbers. We have the 31st day of the 12th month of the 99th year. So we have a 3-digit date. When you put those 3 digits into the Mayan converter, it's going to give you a 5-digit date. In the Gregorian calendar, the kind of calendar that we use, it'll be day, month, year, left to right. But the Mayan calendar is going to be just the opposite. This is going to be the day, the month, and the year, right to left. So this is the first day of the 15th month of the 6th year. And then they have 2 larger cycles of time, which I won't explain in depth here, but just know that their dates are going to have 5 digits as opposed to our 3 digits. The day, the month, the year, and then these 2 larger cycles of time. Once you get that Mayan number, you'll convert those numbers into Mayan numerals. So the 1, 15, 6, 19, and 12. And remember over here where I showed you that these dates are going to be vertical, these numbers are going to have to be converted to vertical. So that's the first steps that we're going to take to convert our date into the Mayan date. I also want to point out to you the difference in symbols here. This is the symbol for the day. This is the symbol for month, year, and then this larger cycle of time is going to be called the Katun, and this larger cycle of time is going to be called the Baktun. And there's a symbol that represents each one of those. And on this Mayan calendar over here, this is the order that's going to go in. This is the day, this is the month, this is the year, this is the Katun, and this is the Baktun. But you notice that there are different variations of images for those symbols. For example, this symbol right here is kin on this version of the Mayan calendar. But I'm going to have us draw this symbol instead. These are also very common symbols for the Mayan calendar. And instead of this symbol for Winal, we'll use this one for the month. And Tun is this guy's face with a little beak nose and a skeleton jawbone down here. We're going to use this one, this Tun image here. This menacing fellow up here is Katun, but we're going to use this symbol. And this guy up here with either a foot or a hand for a jaw, we're not going to draw this one on our calendar. We're going to draw this symbol for the Baktun. So you can kind of see how they're going to be laid out, but it's going to be a little bit different than this first example. And one of the cool things that's missing right here in her calendar is what they call a Lord of Darkness. We are not going to use these two symbols, but we are going to add a Lord of Darkness down here. There are 9 Lords of Darkness. The Mayan underworld had 9 levels in it. And each level of Xibalba, that was the name of their underworld, had a different god that ruled over that level of Xibalba. And sometimes they have names and sometimes they don't, but usually they're just referred to as God 1, God 2, God 3, God 4, God 5, God 6, 7, 8, and 9. So the short term, they're just going to be like G1, G2. That's how they refer to them. And we're going to add one of those right here on our calendar. So let's get started with showing you an example, and then I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and choose a date for yourself and do your own. So here's a blank calendar, and I'm going to show you how to start to fill this out step by step, and you'll see once you go through it, you'll be able to do it pretty quickly. The first thing that we have to do is draw that initial series glyph up here. And you notice it's kind of 3 different glyphs. Here's a glyph down here, then there's a guy's face up on top with kind of a bird nose, and this is a shell that's open on one side, and this is the other side of the shell. And then it has 3 decorations up on top. So it's really a series of glyphs that you'll draw. And you'll get to draw it pretty quickly once you draw it a few times. So that's the first step. Step A, draw that initial series glyph. The next thing you're going to do is draw the Kin, Winal, Tun, Katun, and Baktun glyphs. I already showed you what those were, and now you just have to draw them in. So the Kin is going to go here, the Winal goes here, the Tun here, the Katun, and the Baktun. And this is what all calendars will look like. So no matter what the date is, you're going to quickly draw in these 6 glyphs. First the initial series glyph, then you draw in these 5, and then you'll have to figure out how to get the numbers, and we're going to look at that right now. So you'll scan this with a QR code, and then you'll type in whichever number you want. So in this case, we're going to do December 31st, 1999. And once you scan that in, it's going to give you the Mayan number, the 1 day, the 15th month of the 6th year of the 19th Katun of the 12th Baktun. And I want you to write that in over here so we have the date on our calendar and then the date on the Mayan calendar. And then it might be a good idea to take these numbers, like this is the day, and just write it over here. 1, this is the month, this is 15, this is the year, year 6, and then it's the 19 Katun and the 12th Baktun. I just put those in the spaces just to kind of know where those numbers are supposed to go on the actual calendar. Your next step will be to draw those numerals out horizontally and then vertically, and then start to place those in. So the 1 is going to go here in front of the Kin, and then the 15 Winal is going to go right over here, and the 6 Tun will go in here, and the 19 Katun will go right to the left of the Katun glyph. The 12 Baktun will go in right here next to the Baktun. So you see where those numbers go in. And then also on this converter page that you scan in with your QR code, it's going to give you which one of the Lords of Darkness need to go into this space. So in this case, on the 31st of December, G4, or God 4, is the one who rules over that day. And so you'll draw him in here. And notice on this Tzolk'in day and this Hob day, we're not going to do anything with that. It gets a little too more complicated for this unit. But just know that it's a thing and we're just going to skip it. So this is enough to tell you what the dates are. And then you have your complete Mayan calendar date for the 31st of December, 1999. And you also have all of the steps that you need to take to do that, which really is not that many. It's 9 steps in all. You'll start with your initial series glyph, then you'll draw your date glyphs, and you'll scan in the QR code, type in the Gregorian date. That will give you the Mayan date numbers. Then you'll convert those into the horizontal, then the vertical numbers. Then you'll add those numbers into the calendar. And the last thing you'll do is choose the god that goes with that date and put it there. And you've got your whole date. In short form, look how few steps there actually are. You're going to start with a blank calendar like this. Draw in your initial series glyph and your date glyphs. Draw in the numbers. And then the god. Those are the steps right there. So you do really those 4 steps if you can kind of get it down quickly. And you can draw a Mayan calendar really quickly. Now I'm going to encourage you to get started. I want your first date that you draw is to be your birth date. Choose your birth date, scan in the QR code, put it in the Mayan converter on that web page, and then once you have those 5 numbers for the Mayan digits, you can go through and do everything from there. After you do your birth date, I want you to do a significant event in your life. Later on in a different unit, we're going to spend some time considering what are some significant events in your life. And we're going to draw them and put them in a Mayan style book. And in that book, we're going to have the date for that event. So I want you to be thinking already of a series of different events in your life that would be important to you for whatever reason to you, and then start to get those Mayan date glyphs already drawn so that when we get to another unit, you'll already have those ready for yourself. So not only are you practicing how to do the Mayan calendar date right now, you're also preparing yourself to make it easier for yourself in another unit coming up. That's the lesson for the day. You now know how to draw a Mayan calendar date. Good job and good luck.